Hi, guys. I am going to be highlighting 5 strategies that I found in the Ellery book that I would um, hopefully be implementing in my classroom someday or as a reading specialist. The very first strategy that I want to highlight is called Hot Seat, and it's located on page 51 of the Ellery book. It is a word study strategy with the emphasis on isolating and identifying sounds. This strategy allows students to recognize individual sounds in words, and it increases their phonemic awareness and helps them understand that words are made up of individual sounds that connect to form one word. Um, as an instructor, you should pay close attention to vocal gestures to help build phonemic awareness. For an example, lip, tongue, and jaw positioning, motor coordination, and articulation. All right, so let's get started. Hot seat, the purpose of it is to recognize and dramatize positioning of isolated sounds. You would need 3 chairs located in the front or a central location of your classroom. Each chair will be marked with a B for beginning sound, a M for middle sound, or an E for ending sound. Before you get into it, you need to have some words that you would like for the students to help you segment. So, for an example, you could have pig ready. So you could, demonstrate for the students where you would sit according to each sound in that word. So for p or the P in the word pig, you would sit in the first seat for the beginning sound, and you can keep moving on forward. The I for the middle sound, or the I, you would sit in the middle seat, and for G or the G, you would sit in the end seat. And you would keep doing that until students were comfortable enough of what you were doing. Then you would select students to come, and they would actually move down the line of the sounds in a word, like log, l, og. You can have the students sit in the coordinating seats, and you can let them know that each seat is the hot seat. Whichever sound they hear, they need to get up and they will have to move to the hot seat that coordinates with that sound and where it's positioned in the word. After students are confident with that and they get the concept, then you would place students in partnerships. And each student will have 3 cups now that will be the hot seat, but they will be cups with the labels B, M, and E on it. And you would also give them a word list so they could manipulate the cups for the sounds that they hear. All right, and that is how that strategy works. The second strategy that I'm going to highlight is body blending. And body blending is also a part of the word study, but it's blending and segmenting sounds. And that strategy involves listening to a sequence of spoken sounds or syllables and then combining the sounds to form a meaningful whole, and hearing a word and then breaking it into its separate parts or segmenting the words. Body blending is located on page 58, and the purpose for body blending is to hear the individual units of sound in a word and act out the blending of the phonemes to form a word. So it's pretty much almost like a hot seat activity, but in this one you would use hula hoops, and you would place 3 hula hoops in the front or in a central location, and you would have them represent each phoneme for the chosen word. So if you use the word met, the very first one would be for the beginning sound, the second one would be for the middle sound, and the third one would be for the ending sound. And each time you say a sound, you would move through the hoops. So for the first sound, you would say and then you move to the second one, you'll say eh, and then you'll move to the third one and you'll say t. And you would let the students know that's how this game is played. When you solicit student help, though, you would call up 3 students, and they will stand behind the hula hoops, and each one of them will represent a sound. So, say you have the word log, the very first student would say "ul" and step into the hula hoop, and then the other student would say "ah," and he would step into the hula hoop and grab hands or lock arms with the first student. And then the third student would say "g" and then hook arms with the second student. And when all of them had a chance to go, then they would all step out of the hula hoops and they would all say the word together. They would all say "log" and jump out of the hula hoops. And when that is done, you could have students get into partnerships, and they could do the same thing in different stations and take turns. So that is the second one. The third strategy that I would like to highlight is letter recognition. All right, and letter recognition comes from the word study strategy, and it's from recognizing. It says students who apply the recognizing strategy are able to identify words quickly and automatically. When students recognize words immediately, they find it easier to focus on the meaning of what is being read. So we don't want students working too hard to find meaning of what words mean, or trying to decode words. We want them to have that to be automatic. So letter recognition is found on page 100, and the purpose is to recognize letters by matching, sorting, and creating them. So you would select several letters to place in a bag. Placing your hand in the bag, begin to describe aloud the letter that you are feeling. So you could say things like, this letter has several curves. I think this letter could be an S. So then you'll have student volunteers reach in the bag and begin to describe the letters prior to pulling it out. You can have the class think of a way the volunteer is describing the letter and begin to predict what letter has those features, so they can try to guess what the letter is before that student pulls it out. So then you can just, it says this, divide students into small groups and have them to begin to dialogue and to list features of each letter and create a reference chart. And you can display this chart, the chart that students create or help you create. You can display that for them to use as a future reference. You can have like little categories for letters with sticks or letters with curves, letters with circles, letters with tails, or letters with tunnels. And then at the very end, you will have students practice writing the letters in their word study journals. So it could be automatic. It could become automatic for them. All right. The fourth strategy I would like to highlight is the academic word walls. And the academic word wall, the purpose for it is to focus attention on academic words and have multiple exposure to these words, and to be able to use these words correctly. All right. So you would select about 5 or so academic words to be displayed for everyone to view. You could write these words on a Post-it note or an index card and place them on a central location. And you want to integrate daily how to actively find these words, how to write these words, have discussions about these words, and understand the technical terms of these words. So you could write the word, or you could have them posted with a picture. You can use a mind mapping that you guys came up with together as a class, and to post with your academic word wall. It is suggested that maybe you could ask questions like, how do you know that this word belongs with this group? And how can you use this word wall as a resource to help you every day? So when you work with the words, you're going to use a variety of activities. You can clap the words, you can clap just rhyming words, you can review the endings. I know when I introduce my word wall words, we make sure we introduce them by word families. So we are working on the R control vowels. So all the word wall words that has an R control vowel, then we would group them together and we would put them on the word wall together, and we will highlight them. We would do rainbow write with them. We would do different types of things with just those words specifically, so they can realize that all the words have a pattern. So that's that one. And my last one is it comes from the comprehension strategy section with the emphasis on predicting. And the purpose, it's called Walking Closely Through the Pictures, and it's located on page 244 of the Ellery text. And the purpose of this strategy is to use illustrations within a text to make predictions and extracting essential information from the text. So you would pretty much lead students in a discussion about understanding the concepts of key words or phrases from a text based on the illustrations. So you can ask things like, how do the pictures help you to predict what's going to happen next in the story? So you can have students kind of peruse the text to see what's going on and give them a key question to answer as they do that in the beginning. And as they look at those pictures, they'll be trying to answer those questions. Ask students to look at the pictures just to make predictions of what they might think the book might be about, what's going to happen next. You can ask things like, looking at the picture on the cover, what do you imagine the answer to this question might be? You can have students discuss the predictions or answers they made based on the information that they found in the book. And at the end, students can select the text to create key questions to ask other students. So this is a great way to have students to become engaged with their reading. And I actually use this as a first grade teacher. Students actually feel really empowered because it's really easy to look at a picture and to use your best judgment about what's going to come next. And they actually find it really intriguing to talk to others about what they feel is going to happen next. They feel really empowered to be a part of that type of conversation. Well, that is my 5 strategies that I found in the Ellery book. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you found it useful. Bye.